Hello, my name is Gary Wagman. I am a practitioner of Sasong medicine, Korean traditional medicine, and also the founder of the American Institute of Korean Traditional Medicine. I am also a seeker of the truth, and I believe that there is one truth that underlies all phenomenon, and my way of seeking it is through Eastern philosophy. Anyway, today I'd like to go over one of those Eastern philosophical teachings. It is Confucian's commentary on the I Ching, also known as the 10 Wings. Okay, this is Confucius's commentary on the I Ching. Now, when the I Ching came to the West, the commentary of the I Ching, which was actually a part of the I Ching, the latter part of the I Ching written by Confucius, was completely eradicated, was completely separated from the I Ching. And nowadays, when we study the I Ching in the West, all we see is the former part of it, which is the King Wen's explanation of the hexagrams, and Zhugong, his son's explanation of lines. We also use in the West the I Ching as a divination, in other words, an oracle, a way to see into the future. Many of us use sticks to find out which hexagram is associated with our future, after we consult the I Ching and ask it a question. But I believe, and those who study with me about the I Ching believe, that the I Ching is not meant to be a way to predict the future, that the I Ching is a philosophy. And the more we dive into it, the less we need our future to be told to us. And the more we understand that each hexagram is a little fraction of the truth that underlies our everyday and our every moment existence. And the more familiar we are with the I Ching, the more we can pull out which hexagram will correlate with our life and our situation, without having to do so at the toss of a coin. For the I Ching to be used as an oracle in the West, Confucius' 10 Wings wasn't all that necessary. In the Confucian 10 Wings, he focuses more on the philosophy of each of the hexagrams, not so much on predicting the future. He talks about how each hexagram has a very deep and profound meaning, and that meaning brings us closer to the heavens and closer to the earth. The Confucian 10 Wings isn't exactly used in a scientific way. As a matter of fact, for many it may seem impractical, because it focuses on the underlying meaning or the metaphysical meaning of the I Ching hexagrams. 10 Wings, the Confucian 10 Wings. Without the 10 wings, the I Ching is like a bird trying to take flight without wings. Utilizing the 10 wings helps us utilize the I Ching, helps us look deeper into it. So here is the character for 10, and here is the character for wings. Now, since I studied in Korea, I'm going to use most of the time the Korean pronunciation. If you're interested in the Chinese pronunciation, I'm sure you can look up the different hexagrams and the different terms I'm using online. Okay. This character for 10 also represents heaven, and this is the character for wings. The 10 wings is also called, the name of 10 wings in Korean is shipik. It is also called kesajan. Kesa means commentary, and jan means collection. So Confucius, so this is the basically a collection of the Confucian commentary on the I Ching. The first two parts of the 10 wings is called the Kesa Sangjan and Kesa Hajan. Okay, Kesa Sang. So the Kesa means explanation, and Sang means the upper or the former, okay? And Ha means the latter or the second part. Okay, so there are two parts of the 10 wings that encompass the general explanation, Confucius's general explanation of the I Ching, the philosophy behind the I Ching, the connection between man, earth, and heaven. Okay, the connection between heaven, earth, and man, and in general, how one studies the I Ching. Okay, how one approaches it, how one gets familiar with it. Okay, and then the second part of the 10 wings, 설괴전. Okay, 설괴전. 설 means to explain. Gui means the hexagrams. Okay, and jan means again the collection. So explanation of the hexagrams collection. So here is where Confucius goes deeper into explaining each of the hexagrams and what they represent. So it goes beyond what the I Ching is discussing each hexagram as, and talks about them further from a philosophical perspective. Next we have the next part of the 10 wings is called the 서괴전. This so is the character for sequence or consecutive sequential order. So 괴전, obviously we have the same characters here. So what this is saying is that this part of the 10 wings discusses the order of the hexagrams. So in divination, or when using the I Ching as an oracle, we tend to take a hexagram, one hexagram, and interpret the situation we are in or our future from that one hexagram. What 서괴전 does is it talks about how the I Ching is a continuum, that the hexagram that we see in the moment might be the focus, but the hexagram before that and the hexagram after that have significant meaning too. So that each hexagram of the I Ching has a sequential order. If we look at the first three hexagrams of the I Ching, we can clearly see that. The first hexagram is the gongui. Okay, the gongui is the hexagram for heaven. Okay, then we have gongui, which is the hexagram for earth. Okay, so these are the first two hexagrams. The third hexagram here. This is the first hexagram, which stands for heaven. Gongui is the second hexagram, which stands for earth. And then we have Dungui, which is also pronounced Junkui, and that is the character for joining. Okay, also the character for chaos and embattlement. Okay, so if we look at the sequence, we can say first, we have the yang energy. Okay, so the universal yang energy. Then we have the yin energy, and then we have the combination of yin and yang. So 1, 2, 3. And when yin and yang combine at first, there is chaos. There's embattlement. Okay, so the character here, very interesting. The character for Chun is joining, but also embattlement. And so with just one character, we have several different meanings, and we can see the philosophical meaning behind each character by comparing those meanings. So this is the sequence that Confucius sees so invaluable in the I Ching, that without this understanding the sequence, we can't just pick up any of the hexagrams and try to define the rest of them. Looking at each of them in a sequence is very, very important. So that's what 서괴전 teaches us. And lastly, we have 잡괴전. This character is pronounced 잡. It means pair. So the pair hexagram explanation, or the pair hexagram collection. So what this basically this part of the 10 wings explains is how each of the hexagrams has a pair, okay? And that pair is very unique to each of the hexagrams. Sometimes he explains the hexagrams as single pairs, and other times he explains them in pairs of 4, which is the sasang, or the 4 symbols. In other words, every 4 hexagrams has a grouping, okay? And this grouping explains the characteristics of yin and yang. Yin within yin, yang within yin, yang within yang, and yin within yang. So Confucius explains that. So this is how Confucius talks about the I Ching as being a philosophy, and seeing each hexagram as a component of an integrated process. So the reason why Confucius calls his commentary on the I Ching the 10 wings is because 10 again is the numerology of heaven. He interprets his commentary as the way to further understand heaven, or the wings that help us fly towards the heavens.